Hello class. Today let's talk about solving two-step equations again. This will be the second or third day that we've done this, but today I'm going to throw in a twist. Okay, so let's review the process of solving two-step equations real quick. So here we have two equations. So we know that our goal in any equation is to get the letter by itself. Okay, so I need to somehow get this x by itself. And we know that in order to do this, what we're going to do is we're going to reverse order of operations. We know that when we do order of operations, we have a particular order that we have to follow. We solve things that are in parentheses, and then we simplify the exponents, and then we do multiply, divide, and we do add, subtract. Okay, so when we get done with all of that, we have an answer. Well, in an equation, I already know the answer, and I'm trying to work it backwards to find the missing part. Okay, so the last thing that we did in order of operations is the first thing that we deal with in solving an equation. So we've got to get rid of this plus 5, and the way we do that is we add the opposite. So I should see a line that looks like this. 3x plus 5 plus negative 5 equals. So this negative 5 is what I've added into the problem to make this 5 go away. Well, we know the old rule that says whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other. So I take the negative 13 and I have to add the negative 5 to it. So I have to add that negative 5 to both sides to maintain balance. So now my 5s will add out and they will make a 0. And we're left with just 3x on the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, we end up with a negative 18, because negative 13 plus negative 5 gives me negative 18. Now we have a multiply by 3. So what we've learned is that if I have a multiply by 3, to undo that, we do a divide by 3. So we divide by 3, and x is equal to negative 6. Okay, so let's do one more real fast, and then we'll get into our lesson for today. So in this one, the first thing I see that I need to do something with is this minus. I don't like minus, and the only reason why we change subtraction to addition next to its opposite is to prevent careless mistakes. Okay, so if we have addition problems, I can reverse the numbers, I can flip the numbers around, and I will still get the same answer. In subtraction, we can't do that. So I come over here and I have to get this letter by itself. So the first thing I need to get rid of is plus 6. We got to get rid of this add 6. We get rid of the constant first. And we do that by adding its opposite. So 6 plus negative 6 plus the negative 4m is equal to 6 plus, well, the new 6 I added over here, the new thing was negative 6. So I add a negative 6. All right, so now my 6 and my negative 6 on the left-hand side go away, and I'm left with negative 4m. And on the right-hand side, I have a negative 6 plus another negative 6, which gives me negative 12. Okay, so now I've got to multiply by negative 4, so we divide by negative 4 on both sides, and you end up with m is equal to positive 3. So that's the process that we go through in order to solve a two-step equation. Now, I told you that today we're going to throw a twist in there. And today it's going to look like this. Okay, so far we've worked equations where we got rid of our add, subtract, and then we got rid of our multiply, divide. Well, now today we look at, well, what if we have parentheses? Because we won't deal with exponents whenever we're dealing with 7th and 8th grade, but you will have to do that in algebra. So we look at this problem and we go, okay, where's the parentheses at? Well, there aren't any physical parentheses, but there are some parentheses that are implied. Because of this fraction bar right here, this big fraction bar, that says that this top part is in parentheses. So whenever I look at that t plus 3, this is not a plus, this is a parenthesis. So I ask myself, do I have any add, subtract to get rid of? No, I don't. So I go to the next thing. Do I have any multiply, divide? Well, I have a divide by 2, so what we're going to do is we need to get rid of the divide by 2 by doing a multiply by 2. So we just multiply this side by 2, and if I do that to one side, I must do that to the other. So these 2's divide out, because this 2 is like in the numerator, because it's 2 over 1, and this 2 is in the denominator, so a 2 divided by 2 gives me 1. And I'm left with t plus 3 equals, and then on the other side, 12 times 2 gives me 24. Okay, and now I still have to solve for this t. I got to get the t by itself. But now since my parentheses dropped away, I do now have a plus 3 that I can get rid of. And we do that by adding its opposite. So t plus 3 plus negative 3 equals 24 plus negative 3. Okay, so my 3's go away, and I'm left with t is equal to 21. Okay, so let's have you do one by yourself. Pause the video and you answer this one. Okay, let's see how you did. Now this one I added a little bit of difficulty to it because I added some decimals. But if you use your calculator, it becomes very simple. So again, we do have some parentheses that are implied right here. So that means we have no add subtract, so we need to get rid of the multiply divide. So we have a divide by 1.3, so that means we're going to do a multiply by 1.3. And if I do that to one side, I do that to the other side as well. So on this side, these divide out, and I'm left with a minus 5 is equal to. Now at this point, you get your calculator, and you type in 4.5 times 1.3, hit enter, and you get 5.85 for your answer. So 5.85. Now I need to get rid of the minus 5. Okay, so what I need to do is change my subtraction to addition next to its opposite. And now to get rid of that plus negative 5, I add a positive 5. So now my negative 5 and my 5 go away, and I'm left with a is equal to 10.85. So that's how we do one if we have parentheses that are implied with a division. But what if I have parentheses with a multiplication? And there are some parentheses there. Okay, well again, because of the parentheses, this is not a plus 3 that I get rid of first. So I need to get rid of the multiply by 2. So how do we do that? We do a divide by 2. So if I divide this side by 2, I divide this side by 2. So my 2's divide out, and I'm left with 2x plus 3 is equal to, and then 14 divided by 2 is 7. Now we just have a regular two-step equation. So I get rid of the plus 3. So 2x plus 3 plus negative 3. So here's my new 3 that I'm added. So equals 7 plus negative 3. So make sure I add it on both sides. So these 3's cancel out, and I'm left with 2x equals 4. Okay, so now to get rid of a multiply by 2, we do a divide by 2. So x is equal to 2. So let's have you do one more, and then we'll be done with our lesson for today. So pause the video and solve this problem. Okay, let's see how you did. So there is no add or subtract because this is a parenthesis. So I need to get rid of the multiply by 3. So I do that by doing a divide by 3. If I divide one side by 3, I divide the other side by 3. So these cancel out, and I'm left with x minus 2 equals, and then 12 divided by 3 is 4. Okay, now I'm ready for this minus. So now I'm going to change my subtraction to addition, next number to its opposite. Now I need to get rid of the plus negative 2 by adding its opposite. And I add it to both sides. So then x is equal to, and 4 plus 2 gives you 6. And that's how you solve equations when you have some parentheses involved. Or at least that's one way. We'll learn another way a little bit later on. Until next time.